Okay, so allow me to introduce po ang ating next resource speaker. Ang ating pong next speaker is, of course, no stranger po, lalong-lalo na po sa mga taga-CLSU because he is no other than our university president himself. Dr. Arden gained his bachelor's degree in agriculture, major in animal science here in CLSU at nakapagtapos po siya ng Master of Science in Animal Science sa University of the Philippines, Los Baños at nakuha niya naman ang kanyang doctorate degree in Bioproduction Science, major in Animal Science sa Tottori University in Japan. He authored several scientific publications, and one worth mentioning is the book Mineral Profile of Forages and its Influence on Goat Nutrition, published in 2005. He led 3 R4D projects with funding from the ABAR, the OSTP card, and CHED, and he is also a recipient of several awards, which includes, and let me just mention, the prestigious Presidential Lingkod Bayan Award, which was given to him in 2014. Kaya po i-welcome po natin lahat, the President of CLSU, Dr. Edgar A. Orden, through his video na ituturo niya po ang topic, Goat Production Technology. Palakpakan po natin si President Orden.
Is the goat industry still a sunrise industry? Let me take you back on how we started in our journey of making goats as one of the most important livestock commodities in the Philippines. Goat in the Philippines is considered a poor man's cow, but a rural asset. It is an integral part of every Filipino farmer's activity since time immemorial. Therefore, its potential of contributing to poverty alleviation and malnutrition, food security and sufficiency, and employment generation in rural communities is eminent. As sources of meat, which we refer to as chebon, and milk, which are considered to be a healthier and the most economical alternative for meeting the protein and nutrition needs of Filipino families, goat raising now positions itself to be profitable business due to its high demand, not only from the local, but also from the global market. However, with much promise in the industry, there are still persisting issues and challenges being faced. Although goat raising may sound to be economically beneficial, its full potential has not been realized. In records, the supply of goat meat and milk does not satisfy the market demand, and therefore, there's a need to produce better and more goat stocks for slaughter and dairy. Also, there are many misconceptions about goat and goat meat in the general. One is that it smells goaty, or in Tagalog, we call maanggo, identifying it to be the least popular livestock. These misconceptions may hinder in making goat products a household staple in this country. And though many are interested in goat farming in the Philippines, did you know that one of the main problems of the goat raisers is the inadequate supply of quality feeds in the market? It is because most of the available commercial feeds are intended for other livestock. On top of this is the insignificant support of the government for goat research and development, and studies on goats are generally fragmented, resulting in compromised productivity despite some interventions. With these precedents, we at Central Luzon State University are always inclined to providing solutions and be a forerunner in elevating the importance of both R&D in agricultural sustainability from technology generation, validation, transfer and promotion, utilization, to commercialization. These are made possible with the establishment of the Small Ruminant Center in 1985, one of the specialized R&D centers of CLSU. Recognized as a national lead center for goat R&D, the Small Ruminant Center serves the primary facility in developing, promoting, and commercializing technologies, and also producing quality stocks while mainstreaming the goat and sheep industry in the country. The center is now able to address some of the pressing issues and challenges of the goat industry through the breakthroughs in knowledge innovation and the collective efforts of all the experts in the field. And so, in its continuous pursuit to develop technologies that will ensure an increase in productivity and profitability, the Small Ruminant Center has focused its research on goat breeding, health, feed resources, and nutrition. In terms of breeding, we have generated the upgraded goats, the three-way cross, the artificial insemination, and the multiple ovulation embryo transfer. The upgraded goat as well as the three-way cross technologies were developed by the Small Ruminant Center as an intervention to increase the size of our native goat and eventually improve their productivity. The upgraded goat is part of the genetic improvement program where we infuse exotic bloodline, particularly the Anglo-Nubian. And as you know, 98% of our goat population in the Philippines, which is roughly now about 3 million, are native animals. So meaning they are relatively small, and because it's small, they are low in terms of production. They produce less meat, they produce less milk. So we try to increase the size of this animal by introducing an exotic bloodline, mainly the Anglo-Nubian. So we produce the F1, a 50% native and 50% Anglo-Nubian. So that's the F1. So we again backcross for the second filial generation and attain 75% Anglo-Nubian and 25% native. And then the third filial generation, we again backcross using the Anglo-Nubian. So we have now an F3 upgraded animals, which are mainly 30% bigger in terms of body size. And we also found out that the F3, which is the maximum exotic inheritance, is that level where we cannot backcross it again with an Anglo-Nubian. So what we did is the F1 crosses, we breed it to another bloodline. This time, a slaughter goat, the Boer. We cross the F3 crosses to the Boer and produce a three-way cross. You have a 50% Boer, and the remaining is the Anglo-Nubian and the native. Now, how much improvement we have attained? We have attained about 32% improvement from the F3 crosses, which we cannot expect if we are going to backcross it again with an Anglo-Nubian. So the three-way cross is an answer for that limit where we say maximum exotic inheritance, where we go with the basic principle of breeding, where we cannot go beyond that. So what we did is to come up with a new breed line, which is called three-way cross. So in effect, we develop an animal which is bigger with the full 50% characteristic of a Boer goat, which is a meat-type animal and relatively bigger than the F3 crosses. And now, the three-way cross are being used as the main raw material for producing commercially, what they call products from Chevron. So, realizing the success of our genetic improvement program, the next task of the Small Ruminant Center is to fast-track genetic improvement. Since we have achieved certain level of improvement for upgrading and three-way cross, what we want is a faster transfer of genetic material. So you can only do this with artificial insemination. So at the ground level, we produce offsprings, upgraded offspring with AI technology. But you know, this intervention do not reach not even 50%. So some farmers usually prefer the natural way. And also the center was successful in coming up with the biotechnology, the SOET and the MOET. The SOET is the super ovulation embryo transfer, or the MOET, which is referred to as multiple ovulation embryo transfer. The AI is to extend further the usefulness of the bag. The SOET and MOET is to extend further the usefulness of a genetically superior female breeding animal. So instead of producing 2 offspring per ovulation, this genetically superior female can produce 4 or 5. Although we were able to successfully produce offspring from the biotechnology called MOET, it is not financially viable because the cost is too much. And we were able to do that because of an agency that funded the research. So proving that we can do, if they can do that with cattle, we can do that also with goat. And we are very proud to tell you that the Small Ruminant Center is the first center here in the Philippines to do and produce a multiple ovulation embryo transfer goat kids. And in order to safeguard the health and survival of the goats, we have the sustainable parasite control. As mentioned a while ago, the sustainable parasite control is the focus of our health and survival intervention. Why parasite control? Because our data at the Small Ruminant Center point out to the fact that 80% of the mortalities is due to parasite. We strongly believe that solving the parasite of the goat will increase their survival. Because our data also points out that when the kids are about 4 to 5 months, that is where the kids are very susceptible to parasite, especially when the kid goes with the mother during grazing. So what we did is to come up with a sustainable parasite control intervention. And one of which is the rotational grazing. So meaning to say that the animal or the herd will stay in a one paddock, and within 3 days, it has to be transferred. Now, the basic principle of that is that the egg of the worm that goes within the pieces will hatch within 5 to 7 days. So therefore, we move the herd before the egg hatches to become larva. Because the infective stage of the parasite, the paddock rotation is an intervention to cut the cycle. So the egg will be present in the feces when the animal defecate, and once given the proper condition, then it will hatch to become a larva. But by the time it hatches, the herd should be on the other paddock. So they cannot infect the animal anymore. Then another intervention that we, as a component of the sustainable parasite control, is the findings that there are some naturally occurring anthelmintic properties among the feed resources that the animals are consuming, such as the legumes. We found out that this leguminous crop, particularly ipil-ipil or Dilocaina and Gliricidia sepium, another one is Indigofera, do have anthelmintic properties. And this is associated to the presence of condensed tannin. And the condensed tannin has a vermicidal effect on the worm, meaning it can control the growth of the worm. It might kill the worm, or it might prevent the reproduction of worm. So it will decrease the worm load. And you have to remember that the worm load of the goat is always there. Very seldom that the goat will have zero worm load. There is always worm inside. But what you have to maintain is that load where it will not cause any severe effect on the health of the animal. Because the moment you have the worm, then that will be a predisposing factor to respiratory diseases, which will result eventually to mortality. To start a goat farm or goat enterprise, there are three important components. One is the stock, meaning the animals that you're going to raise. And second, a housing system. And third one, which I think this is the most important, and this is what usually goat raisers fail to do, is to come up with a supply of feed for the goats. And this can be attained only by establishment of quality source of forage material for the goats. Goats is associated with the small scale farming. So the feed resources of the farmer is the marginally utilized land, meaning lands which are not usually used for producing crops, lands with less value, and idle lands. And these lands will be planted with forage crop, maybe intercrop with grass and legumes. That's why we came up with two systems. The first one is the legume strata. The legume strata is just a combination of several leguminous species. So when we talk of legume strata, we talk of combination of leguminous crop. And these can be grown in the dikes, in idle areas, where we can harvest this 45 days regrowth, considering the pot. But the most crucial of which is the establishment. We have to do this and establish the forage strata at the onset of rainy season. Do not establish leguminous strata during dry season, or else all of them will die. Then another one is understanding the need also of the farmer and the family. So we came up with a combination of forage crop, grass, legumes, and crops such as corn, soybean, and mung bean. So we call this as food feed system. So under Philippine condition, there are two weather conditions, the dry and the wet season. So what do we expect is that during rainy season, we have abundant supply. Dry season, we have less supply of forage material. But with the introduction of the legume strata and food feed system, then we can be assured of a year-round feed supply. So understanding the different physiological stages in the life of a goat. So from kid to a mature, productive, or reproductive animal, we understand that there are critical stages. And we focus on these critical stages to come up with an innovative feed products and feeding scheme to reduce breadwinning mortality, to enhance the growth rate of the kids, improve the body size and condition of the does, meaning the mother, that ultimately this will come up with a better reproductive performance and higher milk yield. And if we have this, growing period is shortened. With 7 to 8 months, you have already a 32 kilos goat with the three-way cross breed lines. So these innovative feed products are from birth, pre-weaning, we have the cocoa water drinks. And for growing kids from the age of 2 months onward up to weaning, we have the creep feeds, which is made up of highly digestible feed resources. And these are mainly made up of grains and cereals plus highly digestible protein sources. And also, when the animal will reach the age of 4 to 5 months, we have the seaweed fortified nutritional pellets. And for the dam, we introduce flushing. Maybe you heard about flushing for swine. If during the development of this flushing at critical physiological stage, what we use as a basis is the flushing we do for the sow. So if you do this with the sow, why don't we do it with the dam? Meaning the doe. No? So what we introduce is flushing at critical stages. Before breeding, 2 months before parturition, and immediately after parturition or during peak of milk production. All of these innovative feed products as well as feeding scheme will then result, and we have tested this, some of which are already protected and they are being commercialized. And we were able to prove that with the use of these innovative feed products and feeding scheme, better reproductive performance and higher milk yield of our animals were attained. As for the nutrition and feeding, which is one of the most important components of goat raising, we have developed innovative feed products and feeding schemes for increased goat productivity. As an additional S&T intervention that is related to improving the feeding and nutrition of goat, we came up with 2 products, the urea molasses mineral block, which is a form of a leek, and the urea treated rice straw. We realized the fact that goat are relying mainly on low quality basal diet. That is why at the ground level, at the village level, the performance of this animal are very, very low. Sometimes this performance is not even enough to satisfy the maintenance requirement of the animal. And there are 2 ways to do it. One is through supplementation. So supplementation in the form of UMMB. So what UMMB can provide is additional source of nitrogen and additional source of mineral. So in other words, we are trying to supplement the needed amount of nitrogenous material to the animal so that they will get the needed nitrogen or protein requirement for maintenance level. We are not saying that this UMMB leak will provide to sustain higher productivity. Maintenance alone will do it. Then the other one, aside from supplementation, is the improving the quality of the basal diet, which is the rice straw. So in this case, we treat the straw or the hay with urea and molasses. This one now is not a form of a leak. We improve and we put additional nutrient in the straw. Straw will be treated with urea and molasses, and the straw will be fermented for 21 days prior to feeding. All of this intervention will improve the nutritional condition of the mature animal. As mentioned a while ago, that the supply of feed resources are highly dependent on the availability of moisture. We came up with an intervention that will solve the chain-like trend in the availability of forage material, wherein during the dry season, we have efficiency, while during rainy season, we have a surplus. So we think of a way on how to harvest the surplus and put it in the deficiency to come up with a year-round feed supply. However, we have to understand that these forage material are highly perishable. Less than 18%, sometimes less than 15% dry matter only, mostly water. So what we did is harvest the surplus during the rainy season and process. So what we think is to come up with an intervention, an SLT, that will prolong the storage life of this forage material when after harvest. So we came up with a pelletized feed for goats. We call S-feed. And we came up with a portable pelletizing machine that is suitable for a small-scale pelleting. So we were successful in coming up with this machine. And after that, we formulated a ration which is made up of more than 35% legumes, grains, molasses, and mineral supplement rolled into one. So we came up with a pellet feed for goats. And this one solved the problem of feed scarcity during dry season. And with pellet feeds, we can store this feed for 4 months. So good enough to last for the dry season feeding from the time of harvest during wet season. I would like to highlight that some of the technologies I mentioned are already protected through the issuance of the certificate of utility model or patent from the during the rainy season and process. So what we think is to come up with an intervention, an SLT, that will prolong the storage life of this forage material when after harvest. So we came up with a pelletized feed for goats. We call S-feed. And we came up with a portable pelletizing machine that is suitable for a small-scale pelleting. So we were successful in coming up with this machine. And after that, we formulated aeration, which is made up of more than 35% legumes, grains, molasses, and mineral supplement rolled into one. So we came up with a pellet feed for goats. And this one solved the problem of feed scarcity during dry season. And with pellet feeds, we can store this feed for 4 months. So good enough to last for the dry season feeding from the time of harvest during wet season. I would like to highlight that some of the technologies I mentioned are already protected through the issuance of the certificate of utility model or patent from the IPO Philippines, or Intellectual Property of the Philippines. Meaning to say, it has undergone the first stage of commercialization, particularly the SP, where one agricultural cooperative is now commercializing it. With all of these available technologies, it is our goal at the center to bring forth and teach this not only to students, but also to other stakeholders, especially the farmers, researchers, and extension workers. We have proactively engaged in the communities by establishing the Techno-Village program, an extension modality that aims to transform communities into a hub where CLSU-generated technologies are utilized to help families attain far-reaching socioeconomic development. And GOAT, as one of the components of the TVP, is being promoted as a viable enterprise that contributes to the continuous societal and economical development. In fact, we have been catering to several farmer beneficiaries. For more than 2 decades, the SRC have been implementing programs and projects that prioritizes technology transfer and promotion and commercialization. These include the following: increasing farm household income through the establishment of community-based dairy goat enterprise, a CHED Dare 2 research grant, and the Let's Do Business, a project funded by the Department of Science and Technology, PCARD. Another one is the Farmer Livestock School on Goat Enterprise. And finally, the Rural Enterprise Development through innovative goat production system. Aside from this, we have partnered with the farmer cooperative, specifically the Apayao Livestock Agricultural Cooperative, for the commercialization of SP for its mass production and contribution, and also signed a licensing agreement with a private individual for the fabrication of portable pelletizing machine. These are just a few of our many noteworthy program and projects, though there is still a lot more to do. Through our innovations and interventions, we were able to somehow contribute significantly to the goat industry with increased productivity, reduced labor costs, improved growth rate, increased milk yield, and ensured sustainability of year-round feed supply. This is our impact. Though we do not know what lies ahead for the goat industry, we at the Small Ruminant Center, Central Luzon State University, will continue to take on the challenges as we intend to explore more opportunities for goat R&D to roll out rapidly our technologies to many more communities, and to intensify and amplify our impacts on the ground. For the goat production, as one of the best options. For goat enterprise, as a profitable venture. For the goat raisers, as a contributor to socioeconomic development. For the goat R&D, as a government priority. And for the goat industry, as a magnified, localized commodity. This is what we are here for, future-proofing the goat industry.
Ayan. So again, I would like to acknowledge his presence. Magandang hapon po, the President of the Central Luzon State University, Dr. Edgar A. Orden. Sir, good afternoon po. And I was told po that President Orden will be answering the questions. So ngayon po, nasa question and answer portion na tayo together with his team po. Again, reminder po, pag may mga questions po tayo, yung mga nandito po sa Teacher's Hall, kindly proceed po to the microphones. Meron po tayong available microphone sa inyo pong left and right. So kung saan po kayo pinakamalapit, approach na lang po. And then, state your name. Kung student po, you may state your course. Kung hindi naman po, you may state your affiliation or kung saan po kayo nakabase or saan po kayo located. And then for our online participants po, you may now chat your questions po sa chat box and then we will later on, kung kaya po, ipa-flash natin sa screen or babasahin po natin siya. Okay, are you ready to throw in your questions? Yes daw, may question po agad. So, may we call on na po ang ating pong resource person, President Orden. And kung may kasama po kayong, ayan po, pwede po na sasagot po ng mga question. Sino po ang unang magtatanong ng question? Sa mga sir and the team, pwede pong mag-proceed po tayo dito sa front po to answer the questions po. Any questions po from our audience? Taas lang po ang kamay. Kanina parang ang dami nag-yes. Bakit nasaan na? Okay. So our first question. Ayan, parang ano. Any question po? Meron pa po? May question po ba? From our students, baka meron po kayong gustong itanong po? Sige po sir. Again po, pa-state your name and your course po.
Magandang tanghali po sa ating lahat. Ako po si Jerome Kapinjan po from CLSU Visa Best Students po. Di lang po kasi nabanggit yung parang housing na para sa ating goat. Ano po ba yung suggestion nyo po kung ano yung magandang housing po? Yung kung barn type, shed type, ganun po.
Housing. Can I ask Mr. De Rosario? Could you answer the question, please?
Hello, good afternoon po.
Yung housing daw.
Okay. So, pag ang nire-recommend po natin na housing for goats, sorry. Sa harap.
Housing.
Pumunta pa ako sa harap.
Dito ka lang. Mr. Del Rosario po kasi ang karpentero namin doon. Kaya dapat siya sumagot. Hindi po ako karpentero.
Ako po yung gumagawa ng mga bahay sa SRC. So, sa goat production po, para maiwasan yung mataas na mortality at mas makontrol po natin yung pakain, nire-recommenda po natin na elevated ang housing. Ang sahig po, ibig sabihin 1 meter from the ground. At least 1 meter. And then from the floor up to the lowest part of the roof, it should be at least 2 meters. And then the design in terms of side, yung dingding po ay dapat open. Dapat po ang hangin ay through and through to promote proper ventilation at hindi po maging prone sa respiratory diseases yung ating mga alaga. So yung materials po will vary depending on the resources of the farmer. It could be lightweight, ano po, gawa sa kawayan o nipa. And then kung medyo may budget po ay yung GI or mga bakal na po or semento. Pero ang turo po natin, if farmers are starting pa po at wala pa pong kita, magsimula sila sa light materials. Pag kumita na, saka po i-upgrade or improve yung goat housing. Okay na po ba yun? Okay, thank you.
Okay po, thank you very much.
Idadagdag ko lang, ano? Idadagdag
Go
ko lang,
ahead, sir.
nakalimutan nung karpenterong sabihin. The space requirement ang pinaka-critical. You have to allot for native animals 1 square meter per animal. Pagka may lahi, at least 2 square meter. Kung upgraded, 1.5 square meter. Importante po yon, hindi kasi nabanggit lang kanina. Okay? Meron pa pong tanong?
Additional questions po?
Wag lang po kayong magtatanong sa math at medyo mahina kayo sa math. Eh.
Sige po, ma'am. Miss Paula.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Doon na lang po sa may gilid.
Tsaka yun po kung saan kukuha tayo ng pera, yun hindi ko masasagot.
Sir, good afternoon po.
Yes, ma'am.
Tatanong ko lang, sir, yung costing, yung cost and return. Would you advise individual farmers will venture on this, or would you advise group of farmers? Tapos mga ilang heads ang tayo pwedeng mag-start. So, yun lang po. Thank you.
You know, whether you are in groups or you are individual farmers, it depends on the resources of the farmer. And if the module that we have prepared under backyard is 5 does. Ibig sabihin, 5 inahin at 1 barako. Under backyard yan, yung individual farmer, yun ang module natin. But if you work on a group, so 25 will be fine enough. Halimbawa, farmer cooperatives, 25, tsaka 1 back. That will be a very good start. But as I have said, you have to consider the resources of the farmer, the resources of the co-ops. Gaano ba karami ang pera nyo? But what I can advise is that, alam nyo, maraming nag-goat farm nung araw. Ang problema nitong mga goat farmers na to, nung una ay, karamihan sa kanila ay ang tawag namin ni Dr. Cruz. Si Dr. Cruz po yung aking boss noon. Nasa Small Ruminant Center ako, doon ako nanggaling when I am still with the academe. Ay weekend farmers. Now, what do we mean by weekend farmers? These are private individual who has the money and they are capable of investing millions for goat farming. And when I say millions, hindi lang po 50 million, hindi lang 100, hindi lang 10 million, more than that. The problem is that they fail to consider the basic requirement for goat farming, ma'am. And what are these? Feed is number 1. May ipapakain ka ba? Pangalawa, mabibigyan mo ba ito ng magandang pabahay para hindi maulanan, hindi mainitan? So, most of them, they have money. Nag-import pa sila. And Ma'am Juby Datuin, who is here in front, was one of our partner from DA. Ito po. Dating provincial agriculturist po itong si Ma'am Juby ng DA sa Region 1. Nakabase po yan sa San Fernando, La Union. So, kung marami silang pera, nag-import. And you know how much this animal cost during that time? 70,000 each. Lalo na po yung craze ng Bower. Ang dami po nilang in-import. So, nag-import sila, dumating ang importation, hindi naka-ready. Walang ipapakain. So, habang nandun yung kambing, nagko-construct sila ng building, naulanan, naarawan. Anong nangyari? Nagka-problema. Maraming namatay. Nung marami na po silang problema, sa kanila kami naalala ni Dr. Cruz, dumating sila sa Small Ruminant Center at naghahanap na ng tutulong sa kanila. So that is a perfect example of a wrong way to do goat farming. So my advice is first, make sure na may ipapakain ka. Kagaya nung diniscuss ko kanina is establishment ng pakain. So if you have 25 those, pag meron kang 1 hektarya na established forage pasture area, that will be enough. So, ganun lang po, ma'am. Yes.
Thank you very much po. Sir, may mga several questions lang po
Yes,
tayo coming
sir.
from our online participants. So allow me to read on
Yes.
behalf of them po. First is how to avail the pelletizing machine daw po and how much would it cost?
Okay. The pelletizing machine is already a technology that we have rolled out. Hindi na ho kami ang nagmamanufacture niyan. Meron po kaming binigyan ng lisensya para mag-manufacture private. And I don't know the cost now, siguro mga magkano na? 53,000 daw, according to Mr. Del Rosario. At alam nyo, ang natatanggap na lang po ng CLSU dito ay yung royalty. Yung 3% yata for each. Kung 53,000, 3% goes to, not to Edgar Orden, but to CLSU. Because remember, lalo na sa mga estudyante, I would like to tell you that the technology we develop here in CLSU is not owned by the inventor or the researcher. The technology is owned by the university. So therefore, pagka may sale, ang royalty po napupunta sa CLSU. So
Okay.
kung gusto nilang mag-order, pwede namin silang tulungan, kukontakin si Mr. Del Rosario, and then i-connect namin doon sa fabricator.
Okay po. Thank you po.
Yeah.
The second question po, mapa-flash po ba natin sa screen? Ayan. From
May ask
Rob
about
Roy E.
the silage kung pwede.
kung pwede din gawin po kung walang pelletizer at para na rin sa excess fresh forage during rainy season.
Yes, pwede naman. Kaya lang, kung ako lang ang magre-recommenda at magsa-silage tayo, ang problema kasi sa silage production, sa ibang bansa, workable yan, very workable, sapagkat haharvestin mo yan during summer. Because you grow the forage, you cannot grow forage during winter. Tama? So you cut it, patapos na yung middle of summer, tutuyuin mo, iimbak mo, or in their case, ilalagay sa silage. Now, in our case, kailan ba maraming damo? Kagaya nung sinabi ko kanina. Maraming damo pag tag-ulan. Tama? At pag pinutol mo yung damo, madaling masira. Kung ilalagay mo yan at isa silage, pwede din naman. Kaya lang mas matrabaho yan. At mahirap i-maintain yung quality ng silage. Madali kasi yung masira at mabulok. Although pwede. Ang ginagawa namin ni Dr. Cruz noon, ang silage namin, ang aming silo is the container. Yung blue na drum. Yung plastic drum. Kaya lang medyo may kamahalan din yun kasi. We harvest, ang ginagamit namin nung silage material ay yung mais. No? Yung forage mais. So we harvest the forage mais, chop it, put some molasses, then ilalagay po namin doon sa silo. Isi-seal namin yon, and then after 21 days fermentation, then pwede nang ipakain.
Okay, sir. Next question po. Mula po sa Facebook. Sa pagturok po ng vitamins, gaano po kadalas at tuwing kailan?
You know, parang sa tao rin yan eh. Vitamins is just a supplement because it is expected that we get all of these elements, vitamins, mineral, etc., from the food we eat. But when you want higher productivity for your animals, gusto mong maraming gatas, gusto mong mas maganda yung anak, yun yung nagbibigay tayo ng vitamins and mineral. And if there are challenges in the farm, kagaya ng babagyo, kakaunti ang nakakain nila, so that's the time you have. Remember, yun pong vitamins and mineral, hindi yun nagbibigay ng sustansya na energy. Wala nun. Hindi rin yun magkukos ng growth. Because there are only two things. No? Energy and growth. Both of them cannot support growth and energy generation. So vitamins and mineral is just needed when there is an extreme challenge at kung yan ay buntis. Yun lang po ang practice namin sa Small Ruminant Center. Pero kung growing animals, badalang kami magbigay ng vitamin because that will be an added cost.
Okay po. So last two questions na lang po siguro dahil sa ating limited time. Sir, sabi po from Facebook din, narinig ko kanina sa presentation na 80% pa rin ang mortality, lalo na sa mga batang kambing. Until now, ganito pa rin po ba ang situation?
Tama ba yun? 80%?
80% po.
Wala pong yatang ganong 80%. Ganito po yung datos namin noon, 30% ang mortality pre-weaning. Ang ibig sabihin ng pre-weaning is bago maawat, maraming mortality. Kaya yung ginawa naming intervention, SNT intervention, ay to address the high mortality bago awatin. Kaya kung makikita nyo, yung aming ginawang intervention ay pag maliit siya, buntis, hanggang sa mag-lactate. So the intervention is continuous intervention. Hindi lang minsan. So we try to reduce mortality by providing the best quality of feed material. Tamang pakain para mas malusog po yung kambing. Kasi kaya yan mataas ang mortality, mahina ang katawan ng hayop. Bakit hihina ang katawan ng ating maliliit na kambing? Pag walang makuhang gatas. So they will be very weak. And kung mahina ang katawan, susceptible sa disease. Madaling magkasakit. Mamamatay yan, sisipunin, pag tag-ulan. Kaya kung mapapansin nyo, karamihan ng namamatay po during rainy season. But during summer, wala masyadong problema.
Okay po. So we can entertain one more questions mula po sa ating audience dito sa Teachers
From
Hall.
the students, I want question from the students.
Ayan po, special request po.
Yeah, from the students, if there are some question from the students.
May plus points ba, sir?
Meron.
Oh, meron daw. Oh, tanong na. Isa na lang to, last na to. Ayan, okay. May matapang na,
Yeah,
sir.
Go ahead.
May plus. Basta daw may plus, sir.
Yeah, and alam nyo, dapat yun yung mga estudyante, I would encourage you to ask question to your professor. Para alam nyo kung alam niya yung tinuturo niya o hindi. Baka hindi niya rin alam yung tinuturo niya. So you should know. And you can only test that by asking questions. If really they know what they are teaching. Go ahead, sir.
Good afternoon po, John Pernuncio from BS Abe po.
From
BS Abe po.
BS?
BS Abe po.
Abe, engineering.
Yes po.
Yes.
Ang question ko po is, meron po tayong upgraded goats, di ba, sir?
Meron tayong?
Upgraded goats po.
Yes, we have.
Ano po yung mas may re-recommend yung pagkain sa kanila? Yung raw materials po ng feeds or yung feeds po mismo?
Ulit, yung?
Yung raw materials po na ginamit para mag-create ng feeds or yung feeds po mismo?
So you mean raw material is individual feed material or a combination?
Combination po.
Okay. So, as you know, there is no single food or sa tao man walang single food or single feed. Except what? Except milk. So the moment na hindi ka na umiinom ng gatas, the best feed is a combination of food sources. So yung sinasabi mo ay pwede ba na ang kakainin lang niya ay puro darak? Which is, ganun ba yan?
Hindi po.
Ano?
Ang ibig ko po sabihin is, ano po yung mas magandang kainin niya? Yung combination po ng raw materials or yung processed po na feeds?
Yun nga yun. Because when you say, sir, na raw material, individual feed material yon, tama?
Apo.
Darak, soybean, grains, cereals, etc., etc. Yun yung raw materials. Kung pagsasama-samahin mo ngayon yun yung process. That's why my answer is, if you will just feed the raw material like straw, yung rice bran, puro darak lang yon, it is just a source of energy. Wala kang source of protein. Parang kayo, kumain ka na ba, sir?
Apo.
Anong kinain mo, sir?
Pork steak po.
Ha?
Pork steak po.
Ganda?
Sana all.
Ano daw?
Pork steak daw po, sir.
Pork steak. Okay, very good. Siguro, anak ka ni Lucio Tan.
Hindi po.
Kasi ako, ang kinain ko doon kanina ay nilagang cabbage at saka munggo. Before I came here, kasi katatapos ng interview ko sa DWNE. So, at saka, maliban doon sa pork steak,
Rice po.
rice. Bakit kinailangan mo ang rice?
For energy po.
Correct. So, ibig sabihin, hindi kompleto yung feed mo, yung kinain, kung puro pork steak. Maliban sa pork steak alone will be very expensive and costly. So, kung i-compare natin yan, sir, do sa sinasabi mong processed food o mixed food, the base diet of what you have taken for lunch today is rice. Kasi yun yung marami. Gano'ng karami? Ilang cups?
Hindi ko po alam.
Unlimited.
Hindi po.
Unlimited. Sa ibig sabihin, pinakamaraming kinain mo ngayon ay energy source. Because you are still young, you need a lot of energy.
Yes po.
Pero ang suggestion ko, being a nutrition, kasi nutritionist kasi ako, kumain ka ng maraming protein para tumangkad ka pa.
Thank you
So
po.
the pork steak makes the whole diet na tinatawag mo. So yung individual raw material cannot be considered as a complete one. What you have taken as rice and pork steak is more or less a diet which is complete.
Thank you po.
Okay, thank you very much. Parang naging consultation, sir. Maraming salamat po sa mga nagbigay ng mga tanong. Marami pa pong questions. Maybe we will take note of them and then we'll refer it to the team na lang, sir.
Yes,
team niyo po para
they can answer.
masagutan din po sila. Sir, napansin ko sa presentation kanina,
Yeah.
parang kompleto na po, doon na po lahat ng mga important information regarding goat production.
Yes.
Meron po ba tayong information material na nagawa po regarding this na pwede pong ma-access ng ating audience, sir?
Yes, we have.
And where po? Where po?
Meron tayong di ba? We have created a platform for all of these SNT the technologies that we have developed. Meron So the team of the Small Ruminant Center will provide you where you can get all of these technologies, in the
Yes, sir, para ma-share din po namin doon sa mga interested.
Yeah,
po.
meron tayo niyan eh.
Opo. I'm sure po after this, marami pa pong magtatanong yan. So, baka pwede po namin sila mabigyan ito mga information materials po.
Yes.
Apo.
We are very willing to give you that. And if you want additional information, then you just get in touch with our staff at the Small Ruminant Center.
Okay po. So, thank you very much,
Yeah,
sir. And we
okay.
would like to give you the certificate of appreciation and the token as well. Allow me to read the citation po. Bureau of Agricultural Research awards this certificate of appreciation to Dr. Edgar A. Orden for sharing his invaluable knowledge and skills in his topic titled Gold Production Technology, given the 16th day of August 2023 during the National Agriculture and Fisheries Technology Exhibition with the theme Shaping Agri-Fisheries Technologies for a Better Future, held at Teachers Hall, CLSU, Science City of Muñoz, Nueva Ecija, signed by our Director, Junel B. Soriano. To award po is the Assistant Head of the Knowledge Management and Information Systems Division, Ms. Evelyn Juanillo. Yan. Tingin na lang po kay Ma'am Leia.